Good evening, Shalom from Jerusalem, Jane. So much has happened today. I've been trying to record an update all day, but as you can see, the lightning is not so good on my phone. I think it's going, my phone is going downhill. It's old, it's broken. It was a gift more than 4 years ago. So I apologize that I haven't been able to do an update today. I'm just doing it now, and it is what it is. But if there's anyone out there who want to help me get a new iPhone so I can do better for you, so I can make better video updates, I can go out in the country and make more videos, anyone who has any means to help with that, drop me an email or use the GoFundMe page. I would really appreciate it, because one day soon this phone is literally gonna die on me. But so much has happened. Right now I'm watching the news, so much celebration and going on in the midst of all of the horror and the devastation and the decapitation and the rapes and everything. But the Israeli Defense Forces has moved into the Gaza Strip with ground operations, and they managed to rescue one of the hostages. They released a young female soldier. She was stationed at a base near the Gaza border when these terrorists stormed in, and they kidnapped several of the soldiers from her unit. It's believed, I just read that something about she was kept alone, but because of Israel is the best in the world with intelligence, they knew exactly where to find her. So apparently they were met with some Hamas terrorists, but they were taken out. So good news, one young female soldier was reunited with her family tonight, and I'm watching the news, and her family, her extended family, her friends, they are all coming together and they're singing and celebrating. And that is exactly what we are hoping is going to happen for the last 239 hostages still sitting in captivity inside the Gaza Strip. Hamas, of course, knew that she has been released, that she was been freed, not released, but that she has been freed from captivity. So earlier today, they released their own propaganda, psychological warfare video with 3 of the female hostages, clearly giving them a script to criticize Israel and the Prime Minister, which is absolutely heartbreaking, but it's all part of their psychological warfare. So much happened today. I want to give you an update. This whole day for me started with, I watched a reportage report on TV about how Hamas entered. You know, they entered so many homes and they brutally murdered so many people. But they came into a house where there was a young couple. They had just 1 month prior celebrated their 30th birthday, and they had twins, 10-month-old twins. And these terrorists burst into the house and they're killing the mother and the father. They're lying in a pool of blood. There's so much blood on the floor, but for whatever reason, they didn't kill the babies. So between 30 and 40 hours, these babies, 10 months old, was left all alone while all of this horrendous thing took place, and Hamas was brutally murdering so many people. So only about 30-40 hours later, a battalion from the Golani Brigade came by, and someone was saying, you know, there's someone crying, and they came into the house and they're finding these parents, mom and dad, lying on the floor in so much blood, but on the bed was lying 2 10-month-old twins that is now going to grow up without a mom and a dad. On top of that, it came out also today because, you know, Hamas was video filming all of the atrocities and the war crimes and crime against humanity that they committed, that in another house, they came in and they tied the father and they killed him. They took the baby and they threw the baby in the oven, and they just turned on the oven. And they grabbed the mother and they raped her. They took turn on her, and this is something that was video filmed on the camera that these terrorists was carrying. It is so absolutely gruesome. So I was trying to digest all of these things, and then all of a sudden, it's a hot day here, so all my doors and windows was open, and all of a sudden I started hearing sirens, police, 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 police. One, more. And I know now by experience, when you hear that much after each other rushing down the streets, then you know through the goosebumps down your back that there's been some sort of a terror attack. And yes, there have been a terror attack. Just literally 3 train stops from here, when you pass Damascus Gate going further out, there is a gas station, and an Arab terrorist had attacked and stabbed a border police officer very close to the light rail station. So the border police officer was severely injured in his upper body. The first police officer who arrived at the scene into this terror attack was actually a man who lost his daughter. She was brutally murdered in Sderot on that horrible Black Saturday when all of these terrorists. So he lost his daughter, and now he was back to work in Jerusalem. And on one of his first days, he's finding himself in the midst of a terror attack. So the terrorist was neutralized. So please pray for this border police officer who was severely injured. Israel took out 4 main figures, key figures in Hamas today, and all of a sudden rockets start flying in. They are flying on and off, on and off, on and off. But all of a sudden there was a loud barrage of rocket firing in to the northern part of Israel, to the southern part of Israel, to central Israel. And I was sitting here eating a little bit, and I heard what sounded like loud booms and explosions, but I haven't had a red alert on my phone. But I was like, this is not. And then it came up on my phone, red alert Jerusalem. So rockets were fired to the western part of Jerusalem. I'm in the downtown part of Jerusalem. So I didn't have a siren. So 6 rockets was fired towards Jerusalem, shooting down by the Iron Dome, but actually 1 rocket landed near Bethlehem. So, so terror attacks, rocket attacks, more testimony coming out of all of the atrocities that took place. More video surveillance is coming out. Hamas releasing a video, psychological warfare video with 3 female hostages. But the IDF went into Gaza, and they are operating inside the Gaza Strip right now with the assistance from the Air Force, and they managed to release a female prisoner. So this is really, 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 really good news. But still, 239 people has been held. Well, now it's 238 because she was released. And these are people from many nations. These are not just from here in Israel. These are people from many nations who was kidnapped on that day. Another thing that came out today was the Israeli-German beautiful young girl who attended the music festival. She was paraded half naked on the back of a truck amongst all of these despicable terrorists, spitting at her, cursing at her, not just the terrorists, but all the innocent civilians in Gaza. She was paraded down the street and they were spitting at her and cursing at her. And today her family was informed that she had passed away. And I just saw now something about a message saying that they had beheaded her, murdered her and beheaded her. So the atrocities, you can't even imagine. It's just, this whole country is affected. There are all the people who was killed, the families sitting grieving. There are all the families who is having a loved one who is held captive. There are still people missing. There are still people missing. And that's also because people has been so much mutilated and tortured. They can't be identified. People has been burned alive. It's literally just a pile of ashes. They can't identify them. You can't imagine the atrocities that took place here. People has been evacuated from the south. They lost their home. They don't have any homes to go to. They were burned down. They were throwing explosive devices into them. It's all destroyed. It looks like a war zone. And now they are sitting in hotels throughout all of Israel while they survived these attacks. They are trying to deal with their trauma, and many of their friends and family members have been murdered. They lost everything they have. They need to start all over again and find out, where are we going to live? How are we going to live? Where's the money going to come from? It's going to take years to rebuild that whole area. People has been displaced from the north. They have been evacuated from the north because Hezbollah continues to fire into Israel. They were firing from Syria also. The IDF always retaliates. So many people, shops are closed, restaurants are closed, many schools are closed. Rockets was flying in all day. More than 1.5 million people here in Israel was running to their bomb shelters, running for their lives today because rockets continue to fly in. It's been more than 8,500 rockets in these 3 weeks. They continue to fly in and traumatize people, and people have to run for their lives. And yesterday there were several direct hits in different cities here in Israel. Only by a miracle did nobody get killed when all of these rockets. Could you imagine for a second if Israel didn't have the Iron Dome shooting down 90% of all of these rockets? You can't even fathom this. Many people, all the foreign workers are gone down in the south with the big farms. They don't have anyone to milk the cows and the dairy farms. They don't have anyone to harvest the avocados, the grapefruits, the green and yellow bell peppers because people are lacking. This is the whole nation is affected by this. You can't even imagine how much this whole nation has been affected. And this is a tiny, tiny, tiny country. On top of that, the Israeli Defense Forces have arrested more than 700 terrorists in these 3 weeks in Judea and Samaria. Many Hamas members, Hamas terrorists, are in Samaria. They have a stronghold out there. So overnight, the Israeli Defense Forces was carrying out raids in Jenin, which is a cesspool. And every time they go in there, they're being attacked because they are also armed to the teeth. So the Israeli military, they are up in the north with Hezbollah, facing Hezbollah, a huge enemy. If they decide to fire more than 150 missiles and rockets into Israel, we have the Gaza Strip. Israel has no choice but to eradicate this murderous terror regime. There's somewhere between 20 and 50,000 Hamas fighters. It's like a military, it's like an army, and they are hiding like the cowards they are in underground bunkers, and many of their command centers, and that's beneath hospitals. That has been proven again and again. They are hiding behind civilians. So Israeli soldiers are not going in and meeting people face to face. They have to go down in the tunnels, and they have snipers, and they are booby trapped. So it's going to be long, it's going to be difficult. On top of that, there's all the tension and the terrorists out in Judea and Samaria, also fired down from Yemen. So for such a time as this, we really, 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 really need your prayers. But not just that, because when you pray, God moves. But please also go out in the streets, make Israel demonstrations, rallies, stand for Israel, stand with the Israeli flags, especially when we see the other side is being so active. And they are calling for the annihilation of the Jewish people. From the river to the sea, Palestine would be free. That means the eradication of the Jewish people. They don't talk about a two-state solution. They want all of Israel. All of Israel needs to be turned into a Palestinian state. That's why they are out screaming for Hamas. Also, you see ISIS flags in some of these demonstrations. So they fully support the genocide of the Jewish people. So Israel, God's holy land, the land of the Bible, the nation that God put his name down, is fighting for survival right now. This is the only way we can say it. And for such a time as this, what is God telling us? Comfort, comfort my people. I will bless those that bless Israel, and I will curse those that curse Israel. So just an update here from me. Sorry about the lightning again. It's not so good. I need to get a haircut, and I need to have a new phone. So thank you for all your love and your concerns for me on all my social media. I'm very, very grateful. Bye.